Welcome to Global Reports Hub. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates. Beijing, August 25, 2025. As the sun rises over the sprawling city, a sense of anticipation fills the air. The world is about to witness a moment that could redefine the very fabric of global economics and power. Headlines flash worldwide. China unveils electro-yuan framework. The dollar's dominance challenged by kilowatts. Newsrooms buzz with speculation, and financial analysts scramble to interpret what this means for the future of money and trade. In a landmark press conference in Shanghai, Chinese officials reveal a bold new plan: to anchor global trade not to gold or oil, as has been tradition, but to electricity itself. This is not just a policy shift, it's a fundamental reimagining of how value is measured and exchanged across borders. Imagine a Brazilian trader buying Chinese solar panels, not with US dollars but with credits tied directly to electricity generated from a Chinese-built hydroelectric dam deep in the Amazon. The transaction bypasses traditional currencies, linking trade to the flow of clean energy. This is China's vision, a direct and audacious challenge to the financial system that has defined the post-war era. It's a move designed to shift the balance of power, placing China at the center of a new, energy-based global economy. For 50 years, the US dollar, backed by oil and the might of American industry, has ruled the world's financial system. The so-called petrodollar has been the backbone of international trade, giving the US unparalleled influence. Now, China wants to replace barrels with megawatts, shifting the world's focus from fossil fuels to renewable energy. The new currency of power is no longer black gold, but the invisible current that lights up cities and powers economies. The message is clear. The fossil fuel era is ending, and with it, perhaps America's financial supremacy. As the world pivots to renewables, the very foundation of global finance is being rewritten. China is betting that its dominance in renewable technology, solar, wind, and hydro, will convince nations to join its new system. By offering access to cutting-edge infrastructure and clean energy, China hopes to attract partners eager for a sustainable future. The stakes are enormous. Everything from gas prices in Ohio to manufacturing costs in Nigeria could be affected. The ripple effects will touch every corner of the globe, influencing how people live, work, and consume. In Washington, policymakers scramble for a response. Urgent meetings are held behind closed doors as leaders grapple with the possibility of losing the dollar's privileged status and the power that comes with it. Meanwhile, in the global south, leaders see a rare opportunity, a chance to break free from decades of dollar dependency and chart a new course for their economies. For many, the promise of energy-backed trade is both liberating and enticing. China isn't just selling a currency, it's selling a vision of a cleaner, tech-driven future where the yuan, powered by renewable energy, sits at the heart of global commerce. It's a promise of progress, innovation, and a new kind of prosperity. The world is on notice. The foundations of global finance are shifting beneath our feet. Markets tremble, investors watch nervously, and nations weigh their options in this new era of uncertainty. The aftershocks have only just begun. As the world adapts to this seismic shift, one thing is certain: the rules of the game are changing, and no one can predict what the new order will ultimately look like. To grasp China's challenge, we need to revisit how the dollar became king. In the 1970s, Nixon cut the dollar's link to gold, sparking a crisis. The US struck a deal with Saudi Arabia, military protection in exchange for oil priced in dollars. Other OPEC nations followed, birthing the petrodollar system. Suddenly, every nation needed dollars to buy oil, creating relentless demand for US currency. This let America run huge deficits and print money with impunity. The petrodollar system gave the US immense leverage: sanctions, cheap borrowing, and global influence. Central banks everywhere held dollars. Global trade ran on them. But this dominance depended on the world's addiction to oil. As that addiction fades, the dollar's foundation cracks. China is seizing the moment. The world is undergoing a monumental shift, moving away from traditional fossil fuels towards a future dominated by electrification. This transition is as profound as the historical shift from coal to oil. The era of oil's dominance is gradually waning, making way for a new energy paradigm. Today, cars increasingly run on batteries, industries are rapidly electrifying, and homes are adopting efficient heat pumps for heating and cooling. Electricity has emerged as the primary energy vector, transcending its role as a mere utility to become the backbone of modern life. Investment in clean energy technologies is now outpacing that in fossil fuels. Solar and wind power have become the most cost-effective new power sources available. Unlike oil, renewable resources like the sun, wind, and water are abundant and widespread, reshaping global geopolitics and energy strategies. The true power now lies in advanced technology and robust infrastructure, rather than in underground reserves of oil and gas. Electricity is instantaneous, flowing seamlessly through vast grids, unlike oil which must be transported in tankers across oceans. The real asset in this new era is the extensive network that delivers power reliably and efficiently to every corner of the globe. The petrodollar system was built on the geography of oil. The emerging system is founded on industrial and technological prowess. As global oil demand reaches a plateau, the automatic demand for the dollar is also leveling off, signaling a shift in economic power. This presents a once-in-a-century opportunity to establish a new global currency standard, one that reflects the changing energy landscape. China, having learned from the historical playbook of the United States, is positioning itself to take advantage of this shift. As the world increasingly turns to electricity for its energy needs, the yuan is poised to become a key player in this new energy economy. While the West debated climate policy, China built the world's largest renewable sector. China produces most of the world's solar panels, half its wind turbines, and leads in battery tech. This didn't happen by accident. It's a result of massive state-driven investment and strategy. China can now deploy renewables faster and cheaper than anyone. Mega projects like the Three Gorges Dam are now dwarfed by new solar and wind farms. China's ultra-high voltage transmission lines solve the challenge of integrating renewables. As nations race to decarbonize, they'll find the tech and supply chains all lead back to China. The electro-yuan is the logical result of China's green energy dominance. Like the petrodollar, but for the 21st century, global energy and tech trade settled in yuan. When China builds a dam or solar farm abroad, financing and payments happen in yuan. Host countries repay loans with electricity revenue, all in yuan, creating a closed economic loop. The digital yuan makes these transactions fast, cheap, and independent of US-controlled systems. This shields participants from US sanctions and makes the yuan more attractive for trade. The electro-yuan is a slow, methodical challenge to the dollar's reserve status. By tying the yuan to electricity, a commodity China increasingly controls, real demand is created. It's a new system of global power built on electrons, not oil. America's power grid is aging, fragmented, and vulnerable to extreme weather. Political gridlock stalls upgrades, making it hard to handle renewable energy at scale. China, meanwhile, treats its grid as a unified national project, building ultra-high voltage lines that move power efficiently across vast distances. This technology lets China export its grid expertise and embed its standards abroad. By building and operating critical infrastructure, China gains long-term leverage over other nations' economies. The US system's complexity leads to paralysis. China's centralized model enables rapid progress. As the world electrifies, China is pulling ahead, laying the foundation for its electro-yuan ambitions. China's Belt and Road Initiative is wiring the world for its electro-yuan system. In Laos, Chinese-built dams turn the country into Southeast Asia's battery, exporting power, often settled in yuan. In Brazil, China's state grid upgrades the grid and finances projects in yuan, integrating Brazil into China's financial ecosystem. In Ghana, Chinese-built dams boost energy and create long-term financial ties. China offers fast, affordable infrastructure, an attractive alternative to Western loans. Each project creates new markets for Chinese tech and the yuan. Instead of military might, China wields power plants and transmission lines. The dollar's dominance is being eroded by the quiet hum of Chinese-built turbines. Every Chinese-built power plant abroad expands the yuan's reach. Projects are financed in yuan, requiring host countries to engage with China's financial system. Local suppliers are paid in yuan, seeding the currency in new economies. Once operational, electricity is often sold in yuan, especially in cross-border trades. Host countries must service yuan-denominated debt, deepening economic ties. This model bypasses the dollar and the SWIFT system, offering an alternative to US financial control. Early adopters include nations under US sanctions like Russia and Iran. As China's energy network grows, more countries may diversify away from the dollar. The dollar's reserve status is a habit, one China is working to break. The financial revolution is happening in power plants, not trading floors. The shift from the petrodollar to the electro-yuan is not just a financial adjustment, it's a fundamental reordering of global power, the likes of which the world hasn't seen in decades. For nearly a century, the US dollar has been the backbone of international trade and finance, giving America unparalleled influence over the global economy. But now, as energy markets and technology evolve, a new contender is rising. If demand for the dollar falls, the US could face a wave of inflation, higher interest rates, and deep economic pain. Everyday Americans might see their savings erode, prices rise, and jobs become less secure. The ripple effects would be felt far beyond Wall Street, touching households and businesses across the nation. America's ability to use its financial power as a foreign policy tool will diminish. Sanctions and economic pressure, once effective levers, may lose their bite as other nations find alternatives to the dollar-based system. Competing currency systems, dollar versus yuan, signal the rise of a more multipolar and potentially less stable world. The global financial order is fragmenting, with new alliances and rivalries emerging as countries seek to protect their interests. Nations will be forced to choose sides, redrawing alliances and reshaping the very foundations of global governance. Old partnerships may fracture, while new coalitions form in response to shifting economic realities. The transition won't happen overnight, it will unfold gradually over years and even decades, but the direction is unmistakable. The world is moving toward a new era, and the pace of change is accelerating. China is playing the long game, investing heavily in green energy and building the supply chains of the future, solar, batteries, electric vehicles, that the US currently lacks. This strategic focus could give China a decisive edge in the next global economic order. The message is clear: prepare for change. Individuals, businesses, and governments alike must adapt to a world where old certainties no longer apply, and resilience is more important than ever. The post-Cold War certainties are dissolving, just as they did at the end of previous eras. We are witnessing the birth of a new geopolitical landscape, one defined by competition, innovation, and uncertainty. The battle for the future of money is, in many ways, the battle for global leadership itself. Digital currencies, new payment systems, and shifting alliances will determine who sets the rules for decades to come. The world of tomorrow is already taking shape, and the first tremors are here. The choices we make now will echo for generations, shaping the destiny of nations and the lives of billions.